Okay, Grant.
Yep.
What's the joke?
Oh my god.
He couldn't come up with one last episode.
He started this.
I know.
So now I'm just asking.
Give me a moment. I mean, I would say a joke. Well, first joke is you don't put a Ford motor in a Chevy, but
Yep, that's correct.
You are the joke.
give me a second. Oh my god.
I got one.
Here's one. I can't take the dog to the pond anymore because the ducks keep attacking her. I guess that's what I get for her being a purebred.
Ah.
You want mine?
Yeah.
You want mine? Okay. Did you hear about the circus tents? Oh, sorry. Fuck.
That was the joke. That was it.
Did you hear about the circus fire?
No.
It was intense.
It was intense.
Oh my god.
Oh, purebred.
Mm-hmm.
Purebred.
Yeah.
I like bread.
I like bread. Welcome to Untitled Truck Project show.
Truck episode.
It's the truck episode
Oh, we're the Untitled Truck
project
Podcast.
show.
Truckesode.
It's the Truckesode.
Truckapalooza.
Okay.
Number 53.
Woo!
Oh, very nice.
A year and one day.
A year and a day.
Yeah.
A year and a week.
That's right. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah.
Year and one
What's
week.
math?
I just want to say before we start, it's been a fascinating journey. This show and you guys, over a year of what we've done.
Didn't we start in April last year?
Yeah, it's been 1 year.
Damn. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, it is crazy.
Remember we had
been quite something.
Jack in the Box birthday cake for Rob's birthday on our first episode recording.
Where's my
Yeah.
birthday cake,
Oh,
bro?
you're right. We did
We
stop.
did.
My
Was it
birthday.
Jack in the Box or McDonald's?
My birthday was
It was
2
Jack-
days ago. Where's my birthday cake?
I know.
Yeah, Jeremy.
I
Gave me
sent
cho-
you a birthday.
Yes, you did.
But think of this.
Not
for,
a cake, but a birthday wish.
For a year, we've had, 30-something guests on the show. We've had
Yeah.
traveled to SEMA, beaches, countless races. We've had
We've met new friends.
we did.
been in
Chad.
3 different
Our
studios.
buddy Chad
C10 Truck
We've
Nerd.
been in 3 different studios recording. You know?
had a good time. I'm
Yeah.
Rob Spring.
I'm Grant Gonzalez.
Jeremy Molt.
Welcome to show 53, the truck episode. You know, we should have had Chad on for this one.
I
Yeah.
know, right?
Yeah.
Damn it.
You want to call him?
Yeah, are we?
Drop the
Are you
ball.
legit? I'm so down.
He'd
It's
probably
like 11
answer.
o'clock, too.
No,
Just call him.
That's a little rough without notice. I'm not going to do that to him. I talked to him the other day.
Text him right now during this episode and say, do you want to come on for even 10 minutes? If he answers,
Okay.
thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Well, you got to carry the
You
show.
got to carry
for
the show
a
then,
couple
Grant.
minutes then.
Okay. So today on the Truck Podcast, we're going to be talking about trucks and truck projects all specially. We're going to be making what is a good truck project, Jeremy. I'm looking at you for that one.
I'm excited about
You know,
this.
from 2-wheelers to 4-wheelers to lowriders, jacked up to Baja racers. And then we're going to be talking about why are trucks so cool and are they purpose built? Are they going to be the farm hauler? Or are they going to be the slam down beauty that gets from point A to B dragster? You know? While we're doing that, we're also going to be talking about some events that are coming up, such as on March 29th through 30th. That's already happened, Rob. Yeah, it says March. We're in April.
Oh, sure enough. Well, I
Yeah.
just wanted to highlight the fact that C10 Nationals was coming up and has come and gone, and yeah, that kind of stuff.
So while this one episode airs, we will be having, I think it's a week or two after that, we have May 9th through May 10th in Texas, Motor Speedway, where Chad, the C10 Truck Nerd, hopefully we'll get him on, will be there, correct?
That is correct.
Yes.
Yeah, I talked to him just a few days ago, and he is headed to Texas.
Yeah, as well as mark your calendar, because this one's also a ways away, but still a good one to go to for the C10 Truck Nationals in October 3rd through 4th in Nashville Speedway.
Yep. Nashville Super Speedway.
Yeah,
Well done. I texted him. We'll see if he answers.
perfect.
Hopefully. That would be kind of cool. I should have planned ahead.
Fingers crossed.
I did just talk to him, so that was, whatever.
Where do you want to start? Jeremy, I know you're raring to go at this.
Well, I was not listening. So, did you go through the 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive,
Well, he
lowrider,
did
jacked up
mention
on
that.
steroids trucks?
Yes, he did mention that. God, where do you go, right?
I know. Well,
There's so many different directions, and just like with cars, everybody has an idea of what their perfect truck looks like, right?
Yeah.
And like for me, I really like 4-wheel drives. Does it have to be a 4-wheel drive? No. I think I mentioned in the last episode, I'm potentially looking at a 2-wheel drive slammed on airbag, dually Ford F-350 for my
Luxury build,
my
Challenger.
Cruiser
right?
challenge, yeah.
which we are still into. Next week is our due dates for our
I
listeners.
know. It's on the short list of vehicles that I would do, right? And if I do go that route, the entertainment systems will be very interesting.
Okay.
I'm sure you have a background in car stereo.
I do.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool.
So, but everybody's got their opinion of what a perfect truck is,
I kind of wanted to touch on the fact that I think truck builds are getting more popular.
Oh, yeah.
We've gone from trucks were built for utility. They were built for a purpose. They were tools, basically, right? Somewhere down the line, people are looking at a truck going, that thing's really kind of cool. It makes me happy to look at that. And they want to build it, and they want to put their own spin on it.
And thus the Cybertruck was born.
Lowering it. It's not even a truck. Shut up. We're not... I'm going to fire you. You're done. You're out.
Can I say one thing about those?
Yeah.
Just one.
God.
I know you hate them.
I do.
And you're going to love this. Tesla won't even take them back on
That's how much they hate them. Think about that.
They won't even take them back. A $120,000 truck you can find online right now for $64,000. They were 120 brand new, and they are 64 a year later.
Wow. Yeah.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
Well, they're junk.
Start the
They're
truck
absolute
episode
junk.
off by talking about Tesla.
Absolute junk.
Moving on.
Yes, please move on. My point
That's going to make
was-
somebody happy.
I guess. So anyway, we've come a long ways in trucks.
I wanted to ask when
They started out, like I said, as tools, right?
Yeah,
A
yeah.
utility. And now we're building stuff for the pleasure of it, but
Right.
it's still useful. So I don't know. I think that's kind of a cool way to look at it. Look at the truck market.
People still use them as tools.
They do. Absolutely.
They're all over. I mean,
I don't know how people live without a truck.
I don't either.
Okay, here's a question I got to ask you guys.
All right.
That has to start off before this one. SUVs, especially older SUVs, are those trucks?
No.
First gen Suburban.
No.
Talking about Excursion. Talking about
It
that.
doesn't have the utilitarian.
It literally has utility in the name.
No, it is. Let me ask this.
Okay.
Can you put a yard of dirt in the back of it
Yes.
and take it somewhere?
Yes.
Can you?
Yeah.
How?
It's a lot harder, but you could do it.
Yeah,
I mean, you
true.
can. You're
Okay,
probably
so-
doing it in bags.
So literally, I put SUVs in the truck episode.
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah.
I did because
it's
they're
on a truck chassis.
yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
It is on a truck chassis.
They're more truck than they are car.
Well-
honestly. And
Yes.
besides that, I wanted to put Blazers and Broncos and International Scouts and Jeeps, and I think that's all truck category.
I need to know, is this
Off-road,
count as a truck
on-road,
category
doesn't matter.
then? Are we still talking like things like the Escalade pickup, the Sport Track Explorer, the Maverick,
For me,
Honda Ridgeline.
Honda Ridgeline?
those are all too new to be project vehicles.
But is it a truck?
It's a truck.
So yes.
It's a car truck.
Yes.
Well,
Is it El Camino
El
count?
Camino. I put El Caminos on here.
Ranchero.
And Ford Ranchero. Is that a truck or is that a car?
That's a Ute.
It has a truck bed.
It has a truck bed. I don't know if it's a unibody. I think technically a truck has a separate body from the bed.
The old, no,
Not all of them,
the El Caminos were not unibody.
weren't they? I thought they were.
They were body on frame. I'm calling Chad right now.
Nice.
Okay, should we hook him up to the thing?
He is.
Okay, how do we hook him
Oh,
up?
you got to turn it up.
Oh,
Yeah.
hold on. Let me hit the buttons.
Okay.
Hit the button. Give him some volume. See what we got.
I'm excited to hear from the Chad man.
Well, can you hear me?
Chad! Now.
Chad.
How are you, buddy?
I'm great. How about you guys?
Doing really well. I did not plan ahead well enough. When I was talking to you the other day, I should have clued you in.
I don't care. It's fine.
Awesome.
You remembered me now. So.
Yeah, yeah.
We're so glad you're up at almost midnight your time.
No, it's only 10:07 here.
Oh, perfect.
Perfect.
Not bad.
Awesome. So it's Untitled Truck Project this week.
We're on 1 year anniversary plus a week episode.
Yep.
Outstanding.
Right? It's pretty amazing. So, yeah, we were just talking trucks, and we were kind of reviewing, trucks started out as utility. They were built for a tool.
Before we get into it, we should just review for our listener who Chad is.
That's
I
valid.
think we just talked about it.
We kind of did, but yeah, this is our buddy Chad, the C10 Truck Nerd.
Yes.
Visit his site on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please do.
How many followers you got now?
Almost 21,000.
Nice. Let's get you to 22.
Yeah.
I know.
21,002.
you better start about 50 YouTube accounts tonight.
Okay, so Rob, you were saying.
I was saying, yeah. Anyway, we've come a long way in the trucks, and you deal specifically, Chad, with the C10s, and living out where you do, those things were just work trucks and plentiful, thousands of work trucks. But now we're taking them, and we're taking them beyond that, right? We're fixing them up into our little hot rods and show cars and that kind of stuff. And I don't know, I just think it's really cool where the truck market is going, and it seems to be growing in the last 5 years, getting more popular to take trucks and make them your project. So.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, the stuff that we find around here it was fairly beat, but a lot of the farmers would use them for 10, 15 years, park them in the tree row, and then buy another one, and then just never come back to it. So they're everywhere, and people they're like, I can't believe there's so many trucks here, and we have no trucks out east. And I'm like, yeah, well, we're very agricultural, so they were everywhere.
Yeah, I find that pretty awesome. And especially, watching you drive around the country and bring back truckloads of parts every week.
Literally.
Buckets full of trim.
Oh my gosh.
Are you saying I have a problem? Or
no.
I don't.
No. It's not a problem
hobby.
if we enjoy it.
Yeah,
it's a hobby.
I'm failing to see a problem.
Yes, exactly. How many trucks do you have in the driveway right now?
1, 2, 3 in the front of the house.
Yeah.
1 in the shop, and 1 on the north side of the shop, and 2 out in the field somewhere else, and then another 1 at my cousin.
So I count 8.
That probably, and then my Ford, that I
9.
park in the garage. So.
Oh well, you got to treat that one nicely.
Well, you got to hide it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
we counted between Garrett and I. We have 23 vehicles between the two of us.
Holy smokes. How many of those run?
We don't talk about that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Robbie's making our numbers look rookie.
He really is. I know. Oh, man.
But one of your guys' engines cost more than mine 8 trucks.
Oh.
So.
Yeah.
There could be something there. Mm-hmm. Are you and your daughter working on one of the vehicles? Is it Forest?
Yes. So we are. We haven't really disclosed what we're doing with it, but I actually have a direction finally.
Oh, nice.
So I'm building carts and things like that this was going to be a quick, easy $1,500 truck that's not going to be that anymore. So
yeah. Well, it didn't, maybe this was on one of your episodes, but you had said that, or maybe you just told me this, I don't know. It's now going to be a vehicle that your daughter wants to drive, so now it has to be safe.
yes.
There you go.
That's
And
fair.
And then when we're done with it, I'm like, honey, you don't want this. You want to drive a nice like Honda Accord or something. Dad will take this. So it'll be fine.
So we're talking full roll cage, fire suppression system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
just something he can
as long-
cruise in.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, we have a good direction. So I've been working out in the shop. I took the last 3 days vacation, so I've been out in the shop putting Raptor
Nice.
shoots up and started the insulation and all that, and it's just been miserable.
I bet with all the heat recently.
Well, is it still cold there?
No, it's tomorrow. It will be 98.
Oh,
Are you no kidding? Wow.
Good Lord.
Well, it's cold here compared to that. So
Yeah, we were like 50 the other day as a high, and now we're going to be at 98.
oh my gosh.
Wow.
Temperature swings are horrendous. All right. Well, let me ask you your opinion, because we were just kind of going through what we consider trucks and what we're playing with on our truck episode here.
Yeah.
Is an El Camino a truck?
I say it is. We always called it a Truckemino, so why not?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's body on frame, right? So it's still.
Well, I mean, it's like a Ford Explorer Sport Track.
Yes.
Come on. Oh,
Is it an Explorer or is it a truck? You know?
There we
is it
go.
an Explorer or is it a Ranger? We don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that mean
I
the
mean,
Maverick
that's-
is a truck then?
See, that's unibody though. It has truck capabilities.
Yeah. I don't know.
But I mean, I look at my old Chevy Love. It actually had a 6-foot bed. And
Yeah.
that Ford
Yeah.
only has a 5.5 foot. So go figure.
Right.
And
Well,
it's a full size.
the mini truck situation.
What do you think? El Camino, Rancheros, what were they? Cars or trucks?
I think they were early mini truck. They were early trucks. I mean, they were
Yeah.
trucks.
It kind of had a car front end with the
Yeah.
truck bed on them. Like,
It was a
I don't know.
Chevelle nose on
Yeah, had a Chevelle.
something.
How I gotta know? Do you guys know what the carrying capacity of either the Ranchero or the El Camino was? Like, did they have heavy duty springs in the back that actually
No.
made it
No, I think
usable?
it was more
No.
half-ton capacity kind of deal.
Okay?
I mean, me and my buddies used to use a Ford Ranchero to go to the dirt bike races. Throw the bikes in
Yeah.
the back and go.
you could throw a couple dirt bikes in the back, no problem, but you're probably not going to pick up your. Am I falling over here?
You're about to knock over a
Knocking
boom mic.
shit over.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to go to the quarry and have them dump a load of
Yeah.
gravel in the back of it.
Why not?
I don't think it would hold up.
Right.
I think you'd beat the hell out of it.
Okay.
And I don't think they
What's
were
that
made
smug smirk he's got? What's
I know.
that about?
I gotta know. Do monster trucks count as trucks? Because I know they're giant frames, but the body's just kind of like on there. You know.
I mean, it's got truck right in the name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they were based on a truck body, right? Yeah, there's no bed in the back and the motor's sitting in the back.
Well, and the frame's not even the same anymore.
No.
It's all a tube frame.
Yeah,
But it's not exactly a grocery getter either.
right.
Chad, we gotta know. Do you consider like old Suburbans, Excursions, all that? Are those trucks, SUVs?
No, I don't think so.
Yes.
I just call
love
it
it.
something that has a bed.
That's
It's got to have
That's a
an
truck.
exposed bed.
So you would then consider then like that Chevy Avalanche as a truck then, or something like
I
a
would.
Lamborghini LM002 as a truck.
Yeah, I would
Well-
consider them trucks, but like a Blazer, I would not consider a truck. Even though you can take the top off of it, it's not. It was never designed to haul.
There's no separation from the bed
Material,
and the
yeah.
interior.
It's very interesting, the room right now. Jeremy's
Well-
got smug. I'm laughing my ass off, and Rob is very concerned.
I'm just trying to figure it out. The Lamborghini is a SUV wagon. It doesn't have a truck bed.
Well, then what would you consider the Hummer?
Same.
Because it had a bed just like the.
Well, the truck version of it did.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Pretty
But
unusable.
they did have a
But it
SUV
did have
version of it too.
Yeah.
As the Gladiator counts as a truck?
So I don't know what to call these. They're
That
not
one
cars.
really is a truck actually because it has the separation.
Yeah,
it
it
is
does.
a Jeep front end, but it does have a separated truck bed.
So should we
You
say?
got-
Should we say
Do
this?
you guys?
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Chad.
go ahead.
Okay, that
No,
for a truck, quote unquote, it is something that is a body on frame. Hang on, just hear me out. Body on frame, and can or cannot have a open bed to no bed. Either like can have a flat bed, put a box on it, whatever on the back of it, that's considered a truck.
Why do we have
And-
to define it?
Hang
I
on,
think your
hang on.
cab is separate from the bed.
Hang on. And a
Whether it's flat or not.
truck-inspired vehicle,
Maybe
whether
I
that
identify as a truck.
a truck-inspired vehicle, whether it be an SUV or like a Maverick or a unibody or an El Camino or whatever, that is considered a truck-esque vehicle, but not a true truck. Would
I would
agree on that?
agree with that.
Chad, Rob?
Truck-esque.
Ask, yeah.
Very
I'm good
truck-like.
with that.
Okay, Rob's the only one waiting on.
I'm just like, all right, so what do we do with all these other, like, I love myself a K5 Blazer
It's a truck-esque
or a
car.
or a Bronco.
I think it's on a truck chassis,
Yeah.
but it's not quite a truck.
Truck-esque.
It's truck-esque.
So what do we call it?
A truck-esque.
No, it's an SUV, sport utility vehicle. I think it was the K5 Blazers and the old Broncos. I think were the predecessor to what became the SUVs, right?
Yeah. Realistically.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's my opinion.
They just got smaller and more mom-esque.
Yeah.
Soccer mom.
Well, that's true, but you think of my old Love. Love stood for light utility vehicle.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it had a bed,
Even though
right?
It was a truck. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was cabin bed.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting GM did that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that's if we exclude the SUV category, it's going to be a really short show. So that's just
Well, we're
I
gonna
don't think we
include
should. I don't think we should exclude.
I think
them.
we should keep it, but we should define it as those are truck-esque
all right. That's
vehicles.
fine. That's fine. So, Chad, I know that you're biased towards your C10s, but if you had to choose any vehicle, any truck to do your first truck project on, what would it be? It can be a C10, of
Like-
course, but
Like new or old?
well,
Like, are you
I
saying-
lean towards older stuff because those are the ones that really need project kind of love, right? I mean, you're
Yeah.
not buying a 2010 to make it a project vehicle.
Should we define project
Yeah.
we did in the previous episode where we're starting? Okay.
Let's let Chad just run with it.
Okay.
Well, I am very biased
Yeah.
on that, but I would say a 72 K10 short bed 4-wheel drive would probably be the project.
So what's the difference with the K10 and the C10?
So the C was 2-wheel drive and the K was 4-wheel drive.
Gotcha. Okay.
Is it easier to find parts for 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive with those trucks?
Two.
Okay.
It was. I just did a little research, but they had said out of 67 to 72s, they only made 3% half-ton short bed 4-wheel drives out
Wow.
of millions made. So yeah, so very, very expensive
Wow.
to start off with.
No doubt.
And would you take a short bed or would you look for a long bed and cut it down?
I would. I mean, if you could find a short bed, that would be the one to have value-wise for sure.
Mhm.
But the chances of me finding one, there was one here a couple weeks ago I missed out on. It was a step-side short bed 4-wheel drive for
Well, that's
$4,500.
Oh, wow.
How
was-
much? 25?
45.
45.
Wow.
I was a minute or two too late on that one, but I did just buy a 70 4-wheel drive. So
Really?
Nice.
yeah, I guess I can branch out to being the K10 truck nerd, but I'm completely an idiot with 4-wheel drive. So this will be a learning curve.
Nice.
Well, how many? Is there a bunch of crossover parts for that? I mean, body the same kind of stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, all the bodies the same pretty much, but the chassis was just very different. But
Okay.
it'll be fun.
Yeah.
But I would say, sorry, I spun off on a tangent.
No,
there.
do it. Do it.
No, but that when you talk about these trucks, that they're called the Action Line series, but it was funny when you talked about projects because they called them the Glamour series too, because in 67 to 72, trucks kind of changed from being a truck to being kind of daily drivers
Yeah.
back then.
Yep.
So that's when I saw the transition, at least for the GM side,
Okay.
where they were not just farm vehicles. They were, they were driving
Every
into
day.
town into
Yeah.
church.
Yeah. Yep.
We were wondering about that because I think that's one thing we started at the beginning of the episode talking about.
Right.
Is when did trucks change over from that?
Yeah, that's. I think it was both for Ford and Chevy. It was 67 to 72. You saw a lot more color schemes and the two-tone paints, and
Mm-hmm.
that's when they went to trailing arms and all that stuff. So more
People,
comfortable rides and all that.
yeah, people wanted them to ride a little bit better because they were using them for more things. It wasn't just bouncing around on the dirt roads at the farm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
they wanted to ride better on the way to church on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And then
the
they got
GMCs
more.
were,
The interiors got more comfortable too, like late
yes,
'80s or early into the '80s and that kind of stuff.
for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
But
you focus on the 67 to 72, obviously. And now on the 4-wheel drive one that you just picked up, are you going to make that a project truck or are you going to try to flip that?
no, I'm gonna keep that.
Oh boy.
So yeah, believe it or not, I've never had one yet.
Yeah.
So
Really?
I like to learn, so that'll be fun.
We get to learn
And
along with you.
yeah, yeah, you
Sweet.
can be like, hey, idiot, you're turning the hub the wrong direction.
That's not how that works, man.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. But no, it is a project for sure.
Okay.
Cool.
It needs a decent amount of work, but it'll be a patina truck if I can find matching fenders for it. I got a lot of the sheet metal to make it complete. So
Yeah, I would bet that you have a pretty good stockpile head start on everything that you need.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, something like that.
Something like that in one of the garages
Yeah,
or the shed. Something
or the
like
basement.
that. Or in the basement. It's in a tote here somewhere. I know I've seen it.
Maybe the attic.
You don't have a problem. Not at all. All right. So,
That's how, yeah, go for it. Keep going.
yeah. I just, we were going to touch on some of the good stuff for projects. Last week we went through project cars and what made a good project car, especially for somebody that maybe hasn't taken on a project. And I know that you sell a lot of your parts to, a dad and a teenager that's doing a project, and trying to keep a truck on the road. So, granted, you've got the years of trucks, and you have to kind of do that. You can't branch out too far, otherwise you're running a junkyard at that point. But wanted to touch on like the Chevy C series, the Ford F series, the early half-ton Rangers, Power Wagons, stuff like that. And I'm sure it has to do a lot with availability. But what of those, Grant and Jeremy, in your opinions, like what's a good project base? And Jeremy, this is kind of your realm of stuff because you're more into the trucks.
Yeah.
I am, and I'm a little biased towards the Fords.
Okay.
So, I would probably break Chad's heart and go with like a 2-wheel drive Ford pickup to start with.
Yeah. Would you go 3/4 ton or half ton?
I think I'd probably go half ton.
Yep.
And the reason I'd go half ton is for the ride. I don't know if you guys have ridden in the older trucks, but they will beat the hell out of you worse than your F350.
I had a 78. I had a 78 F250.
Yeah, and they're rough.
It was a truck.
Oh yeah, they're a truck. They'll bounce you right off a potholed gravel road.
Right.
But like I had a 64 half ton, and that thing, I loved it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'd probably go a little newer. I really, really like the late 70s Fords.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd probably look in that direction. Even the Broncos of that era,
Love them.
Really love those things.
Yep.
So I'd probably look for one of those.
Okay.
Myself.
I got a line on 2 of late 70s Broncos if you really want one.
Oh God damn it!
Yeah. We'll set you up.
You gonna send me that, not a Scout? How dare you, Rob?
I love the Scout too, but I'm honestly, I'm more of a Ford guy.
Yep.
Right. I grew up around Fords. Grandpa had one, Dad had one, my uncles all had them. So
Well, that kind of brings up a good point when Grant brings up a Scout, and something we talked about last time was parts availability.
Yeah.
Scouts are pretty popular.
Yep.
However, they haven't been made in a long time, right? Yep. So how hard is it to get parts for a Scout?
And the new Scout that's coming out is going to be Volkswagen based.
Really?
You're not going to get international parts out of that.
Right.
That's too new.
But I'm saying is you can't go to if a new international dealership opens up, they're most likely not going to carry.
They're not going to have those
older parts.
Right. No.
Yeah.
No, you're again probably looking for the magazines, right?
Yeah.
Chad, the C10 or the K10s, do they have a magazine like the Mustang ones you can find that
full
have
catalog,
all the catalog parts?
Yeah. So that's my recommendation too, is whatever era or vehicle you pick, you better be able to order the parts or be within a couple hours of an LMC truck or, Brothers or Hawley or something.
Yep.
Because it's going to be very hard. I had a guy message me like 45 minutes ago, and he was looking for step side 67 to 72 tail light housings and lenses. And I said, "Oh, what are you working on?" And he's like, a 48 Chevy. He's like, I can't find any of these, and the ones that I can find are $300.
Wow.
So it's just like that. People are trying to adapt stuff because they can't.
And so we talked about last episodes being creative and being imaginative, because with these older parts and availabilities, sometimes you got to figure out how to adapt or make an interesting solution.
Yeah. Well, and he's working on it. You said a 48. I think at that point, especially, you're just going to have to bite the bullet sometimes. If you want it to be original and you find it and it's super expensive, you might just have to pay that.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could 3D.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, it doesn't seem that hard to just go online, scan one, and pop it off.
Yeah,
Well, that's what he asked me too. He's like, "Well, do you know if the 12 volt and 6 volt sockets were the same?" I'm like, "No, I don't."
Chad, actually, I got a question to ask you, Chad. With all your parts that you have available for the C10, have you ever thought about getting a scanner, because they're fairly affordable now, and just scanning a bunch of parts you have, and catalog it, not only for you but for future generations. Someone needs it. They're in, say, Alaska and can't get to you, and you could be like, well, here's this. I can't give you the part, but you can use this and try to 3D print, or have someone in your area who might be able to get you the part from that.
That would be an interesting idea. My cataloging system right now is a steno pad.
I think I saw buckets.
I saw totes.
I
saw totes. Yeah. I took very close notes to your to your organizational system when you were going to the swap meet. So
well, and the problem is I help people sell parts too.
Oh yeah.
For a cut, so trying to keep organized of, this is this guy's parts, and this is this guy's, and these are mine. And
you take on so much. I don't even know how you do it.
You know how you solve a solution with that? You go get those.
Drink.
Solve.
Yes.
So how you solve it is you go. Was it on Amazon, or I know they used to have them in the stores, where they're little circle stickers that are different colors, green, blue, red, whatever, and just associate each of those stickers with someone, and then you just put a sticker on whatever.
But then you can only do a few people.
You get like 15 different colors.
He's just a problem solver.
Yeah, it's me. I'm always full of that.
I won't lie. I used different colors of masking tape for the swap.
There you go.
There you go.
It worked.
So I was wondering, because you asked Jeremy on his thoughts on a good project. I was wondering if I could say my thoughts.
As long as it doesn't start with an Explorer, then you can.
Okay, so I'm going to include that in this category.
Of course you will.
I'm just going to say any 90s truck is a good starting project. It doesn't matter, because you have the square bodies, you have the round bodies. Mm-hmm. That's both for Chevy, that's both for Ford. Yep. You've got things that are performance, like the Cyclone. You've got things that are work trucks, like the 7.3 25 or 250s. You've got the Cummins, the 12 valve. You've got everything under the sun.
I agree. The 90s were actually a good time, and you could still get a fair amount of parts for a lot of those vehicles.
Correct.
I mean, I did highlight like the Chevy, the CL 1500. Now, I'm not sure what the L means. Maybe Chad knows, but it's got a 7.4 liter 454 in it on a 2-door square body.
Yep.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. And the fact is, because it's 90s,
Right.
because they're beginning of the computer era, you had OBD1, OBD2, so easier to diagnose. If you don't want to go with that, you could swap them out because a lot of those things were not really that sophisticated. So you could put in, say, an LS motor into it or whatever you want into it.
Yep.
Or you could build a Chev 350 and go fairly inexpensive.
Exactly.
Yes.
You had, crazy builds. You had the beginning of the RT10s. You had the V10s in there.
Yep.
From the Excursion, or no, the Excursion too, but
Dodge had
the Fords.
Yeah.
Dodge had a V10 pickup too.
That's what I said, the V10s.
Early 90s.
Yep. So, like, the 90s era, I think, is the best to start a project of any kind because the parts availability is still there. You can go over the counter and get most parts for all those vehicles.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The research out there is still plentiful. You can buy repair books for any vehicles from the 90s and that are still relevant. And you can modify them to do anything, whether it's a lowrider, whether you want an off-road truck, whether you want a show truck, whether you want a dragster or monster truck. Hell, if you want an autocross build, we've talked about the Ranger that's been built. I think the ultimate starting point is find a 90s truck. And the best part about it is I would argue that most 90s trucks, except for the rare exceptions of the rare 454 you're saying, or like a Cyclone, you can get them cheap. We're talking a running, driving project car under what, $4 or $5 grand for a decent one. That's no problems. If you want problems, you can buy them for $1,000.
Yep. I think you're right. I think you kind of nailed it there. Show's over. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Yeah.
And don't forget the Explorer.
See, my dad had a 89 Ford F-150 4-wheel drive. It was black with chrome. That thing was gorgeous. I would love to pick something up like that and restore it.
Yeah.
Back to what he had,
Yeah.
in 91, 92, something like that. When he had it.
Well, I think you're right, too, because of when that is. I mean, it's 30 years old now, 35, if you go clear to 1990. Parts are still fairly inexpensive. You can still get them over the counter. I think that's probably a really good range for a project. And those square bodies, I think, both in the Ford and the Chevy were kind of cool.
I think
you get a straight 6 in there.
You could get the 306 in
Yeah.
there, too. That was a good motor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, by the 90s too, they got rid of so many of the emissions and everything was smogged out through the 80s, late 70s and 80s. It was just all turds. So.
Yeah, and then they found they actually ran cleaner without that shit.
Did Chevy have the Duramax or a diesel at that time?
They had a diesel, but it was not the Duramax.
What diesel they had?
Were they using a Cummins back then?
No, because Dodge had the Cummins.
I know Dodge eventually took it, but
so back in the 80s, they had a Chevy 350 that they converted to diesel.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
not great.
So it was a pile.
So essentially, you had a 350 that was always knocking.
Pretty much, yeah. They sounded awful too, and I don't think the blocks were actually stout enough for what you were trying to do with them.
Okay.
What they were designed to do.
Okay.
So I don't know if they had a newer one. I know most people just bought a 454 if they were trying to tow anything, because gas wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
So
That's true. Well, yeah.
I mean,
It wasn't as expensive as it is now.
yeah, I mean, in high school when I was getting ready to graduate, even in the Northwest, gas was 79 cents a gallon.
Yeah.
So even the big tanks were less than $20 to fill.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh, that'd
Yeah,
be
but
nice.
don't you remember when diesel was 20-30 cents cheaper than gasoline?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's crazy.
Yeah, I remember being a kid and remembering that.
Yeah. But there wasn't as many of those vehicles either, and then they tripled in the amount of, vehicles they started putting out with diesel, and everybody started buying them.
So here's a question to ask you guys, because we brought 90s we just discussed was, are we in agreement that 90s is probably a good, one of the good starting points?
Yeah,
Yes,
I
agreed.
think it would be.
Agreed, Chad? Okay. One of the categories we didn't bring up in those 90 trucks, is it a good idea to take on, say, a Toyota, a Nissan, an import
Yes.
truck?
Yes.
Why?
So again, those were things that were in abundance, right?
Well, that's
So-
another category too.
Yeah.
In those, they didn't have full size trucks
No.
at that time. Those were the mini trucks.
Yeah.
And I know parts are hard to get. I remember, as an
They
example,
were
I
not
tried
hard to
restoring an 86 Toyota, which is not 90s, but still relatively in the same era.
86
And it was harder to find parts for that. So I can't imagine. And that was 10 years ago. Now that 10 years plus, that makes it 90.
So again,
Mm-hmm.
85, 86, 87,
Mm-hmm.
there's catalogs you can go get parts out of
For Toyota.
for Toyota.
I know, I was having a hell of a time trying to find
Yeah,
anything
you
for
were
that truck.
probably looking in the wrong spots. Remember, I was a Toyota kid in the 90s, so
Yeah.
like that was what me and my friends all drove.
Yeah.
I had an 87 Toyota pickup 4x4 for years
Okay.
and rebuilt the motor, had to buy new fenders for it. I got all of that shit brand new out of Bellingham, Washington.
I still think Toyota is very popular in
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I think you're right. I think you can find a lot of that stuff.
So what about Nissan, though?
Nissan might be
a little harder. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they're, it was Datsun, obviously, originally. So if you go back into the 80s, it was a Datsun pickup. Nissan started sometime after that, maybe mid-80s. I don't remember exactly. But
70s.
it's going to be a lot harder to
I
find.
think Datsun and
Was it
Nissan
70s?
were in the 70s.
Okay.
Yeah, they were both there, but
I think those are going to be a lot harder to find.
they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But are those still good projects to start on? I feel like an American-made truck in the 90s is a good starting project.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going for a Japanese type of truck in the 90s, still a decent project to start on, but I feel like that's a notch up for another difficulty. Not the same as if you're buying an F-150.
I'm going to disagree with you all day long.
If you have a Nissan?
I'm not talking about a Nissan.
I know, I'm saying...
I'm talking about a Toyota Japanese, Toyota 4Runner,
Okay.
Toyota pickup. You're going to find parts if you start looking for them.
Okay.
They're plentiful. I mean,
But like a Honda
there were
truck?
not as many of them sold as an F-150,
Okay.
but
So that kind of jumps
Yeah.
back to
I'm talking any import truck.
what we were talking about last week, the Uncommon Project.
Exactly.
Right? So probably not your best bet to start with the least, a vehicle that is not as common as your Chevy or Ford or
Yeah.
even your
Toyota,
Toyota
yeah.
of that era. Not the smartest starter project.
Like Chad...
Unless you really want to get frustrated.
Yeah. Like, Chad, do you have any
Yeah.
projects that you would consider that would be an uncommon or a more difficult project than a starting project? I don't know, how would you say, Rob?
That's close, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
What is a more difficult project? Something you wouldn't want to put your teenage kid on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Range Rover.
Anything. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
A U.S. mail
like you-
truck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who wants to start that?
Yeah.
But I mean, it would be, so my aunt and uncle have a 71 Jaguar, and it's been
Right.
sitting in their shed forever. I'm like, oh man, I'd love to have that, but then I absolutely don't want to have that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's just like, no. Yeah, I mean, availability. I mean, if I need a fender for a pickup truck, even a square body, 60 to 87,
You're going to
I
find
can get
them all
on
over.
one of my C10 forums and say, hey, I need a passenger side fender in light blue. Anybody got one? And within an hour, I can have one.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's
it's-
yeah.
I mean, if we're
But
talking,
if I needed a tumbler for a 71 Jaguar, it's like, well, good luck.
yeah, if we're talking SUV and pickups, right?
Mhm.
Defender,
Truck-esque.
Defender 90. Don't go for that. I would look for the Toyota, the Fords, Chevys, Dodge,
GMC.
GMCs, even the Toyota Land Rovers or Land Cruisers.
Is a thing a car or is it a
You could get
truck?
those. A thing?
Yeah, a Volkswagen thing? Is that a car or a
It's a car.
truck?
It's a car.
Is it a car?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a convertible car, I believe.
Didn't Volkswagen make a truck?
They made that little
They did.
rabbit truck
The
thing.
Rabbit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are, I mean, you can find parts for those, for the ones back in the 80s, you know. And a lot of those parts crossed over.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think that one would probably be a decent little rig to jump into a project on.
Okay.
But, like, the Land Cruisers and Land Rover, no, not Land Cruisers, the Range Rovers and Land
Yeah.
Rovers and stuff like that, those motors were shit.
Mm-hmm.
And they blew up. So, you know, if you had a block that was good and you want to rebuild it, finding parts for them is not easy.
Yeah.
And even today, with, you know, mass amounts of companies out there that do that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
it's still not easy.
I think that's kind of a problem too when somebody new is selecting a vehicle for a restoration. They see those Range Rovers or whatever, and they're neat. They're really cool, you know, Land Cruiser or whatever, but they don't maybe realize how difficult it's going to be to restore that.
Well, because they think it's a Land Rover. They think it's like the old
everywhere.
1940s, 50s where you could throw a wrench and fix it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, there's a certain point where the European automakers became less of a hammer, duct tape, and whatever, and it's like now you need to have a fine-tooth comb to make it run right, you know?
And you had to think like a British person to put it together, which is different.
So, what's the big square Mercedes that everybody wants?
G-Wagon?
The G-Wagons.
Yeah.
So, I love the look of those.
Yep.
I think those things are beautiful.
Okay.
I would own one 100% hands down. Not with the motor that it comes with. 0% chance I would ever own one with the Mercedes motor.
I might be a minority on this one, unless it's the 6x6 G-Wagon. I put that in the category of Cybertruck.
Yeah, I think you're in a category by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
But
That's fine.
I know I've seen projects where dudes buy these things blown up for next to nothing because vehicle's no good without the motor, right?
Right.
And the motors are like $30,000-$40,000 to rebuild or buy a new one.
What do they swap in instead?
LS motors.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're dumping LS motors in there, and
What's that? 4BT? That's what they should.
that
put
would
in
be
there.
another good one.
Yeah.
Just a little
Diesel.
the little 4-cylinder Cummins.
Yep.
That'd be a great little motor to put in one of those. Those things are pretty heavy though.
They are.
You might almost put the 6BT in, you know, the bigger, heavier motor, but an LS or something like that, perfect.
That'd be cool. So, Chad, let me ask you about the 70s era 4-door trucks. Are those hard to come by?
Oh man,
Yeah. So, I mean, the hot item, I think right now is everybody's looking for the 3+3 or the crew cab square bodies.
Yeah.
So they're looking for those in the dualies. So everybody's wanting the 4-door dually
Yeah,
right
the
now.
dually.
And they're just slamming them,
Yeah,
which are, I mean, they're super cool.
they are.
I mean,
With the dualies,
yeah.
with the dualies of those era, were they a steel? Were the beds? Were the what's it called? Wheel wells?
Yeah,
were
the
they
flares.
steel or were they fiberglass of the
Yeah.
era?
No, they were steel back then.
Oh, that's
too.
awesome. Okay.
Yeah, so they're very similar to my era trucks, but just a hair different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and
the way they bolted on.
Yeah, and all the majors had them. They didn't produce a whole lot of them, but Chevy, Ford, Dodge, International, and Jeep, they all had them.
Yeah.
I looked up the Jeep J10. They had a
Those things are
pickup
cool.
truck, 4-door pickup truck.
damn.
Yeah.
So I follow Oregon Crew Cabs on Instagram, and often they have new, not brand new, but newer posts of 70s and even into the late 60s four-door trucks.
Are they for sale or are they just posting like
Always for
projects?
sale.
Oh, for sale
Yeah,
stuff.
they're always, and they're all projects.
Yeah.
So some of them are running, some of them are not running, but they're all fairly reasonably priced.
Oh.
And I think the last one I saw might have been a Dodge, and it was like $4,500.
Wow.
So I mean, they're out there.
Yeah.
And there are people that are trying to help people find them and restore them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're as plentiful as a standard cab.
No, I don't think their
Yeah.
percentage of output was much on the factories for those. Do you see a lot of those where you're at, Chad?
No, I mean it's pretty rare
Yeah.
to see them. I mean, even in the '90s, when the OBS 4-door trucks, you had to get them in a 3/4 ton. Was the only way you could get a 4-door back then. A true 4-door.
I think you saw a lot more of them in the extended cab, not the 4-door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Now,
that
here's
makes
my
sense.
question.
Okay.
Here's my question to you guys: the best mini truck, Ranger S10.
Ooh.
Was it a Toyota?
what am I doing
do you
with
think?
it?
Are we including
Well-
the tuk-tuks?
No.
Ooh.
What do we think?
Yeah, I
Do you
think
know what a tuk-tuk is?
It's the
think that's-
three-wheeler
If-
cars.
Yeah.
I think
if you wanted to
Jeremy's
do a
question's valid.
project.
Yeah. Okay. So a project. See, that's a valid question because
But what am I
I've
doing
had
with it?
several Rangers, and what are you doing with it? Is it off-road truck? Is it street truck? What are you doing? I think for the trucks to work on, ease of working on it is probably like an S10. Problem I would have with that is they were pieces of shit,
I'd go with a Ford Ranger.
but they weren't as easy to work on.
No, they weren't. But the 83 Ford Ranger, not that bad.
Probably true. My first Ranger was an 86. Still not that bad. But then 90s generations, they got, a lot of electronics and
Yeah, that's
this and that. And just even to like a two-wheel drive to lower it, because that was a thing back then, it was not easy to do on a Ranger.
No. No, you can get a kit now, but back then you couldn't.
Yeah,
Right.
back then.
But the 83 Ford Ranger, that 2.3 liter motor,
Yeah.
came in everything.
Yeah.
I mean, they had
Plentiful.
them in Mustang 2s. They had them in the back into the 70s. What are the ones that exploded?
Oh, the Pinto?
The Ford Pinto. They were in those. They
Yeah.
were in Fox Body Mustangs.
Yeah.
The Ranger. I think they were in some of the SUVs.
Get a Ford Courier.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
You go back even further.
Yeah.
And-
Or even in the 70s they had Ford Rangers too.
Yeah, but they were big ones.
Yeah,
full size.
half
size,
size. Yeah, or, half ton. I actually like those. The half ton Rangers are
I
neat.
did too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked the lettering that they had them in back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for
I don't know.
mini truck, a Ranger is a great option, but they were more difficult to do things with, whether it was a lift kit or a lowering kit. The way their suspension was set up, it made it really difficult.
I like the Toyotas too.
Toyotas were probably more versatile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people building the two-wheel drive Toyotas. They had the bed with the hydraulics that moved the bed in all different directions.
Yeah.
And stereos and all that stuff. They
Yep.
were doing all that stuff in those things.
Yep.
Best mini truck.
Don't
Okay.
fucking
The
do
GMC Cyclone.
So,
it. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Those things are badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, I was going to go with this site, and I'll throw that to Rob in a second. I think best mini truck, Subaru Brat.
Pretty cool.
I do
Yeah.
like those. What
They
year?
were.
What years?
I don't know. I just know Brat.
Were those
80s, right?
They were
87?
80s. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because they have
Yeah.
the jump seats in the back. And
What are the new ones? Oh, they're a Baja. The new
yeah.
ones are a Baja.
I was thinking Baja, but I was
I
like, we
think
talked about it. I want to go somewhere unique.
I think the Brat died by the 90s. I don't think they were allowed to put it out anymore because of the jump seats in the back.
I
Yeah.
love those seats in the back too.
If not a Brat, any of what I just showed Rob. Rob, can you explain what
well,
if I-
yeah, it's
These are mini trucks.
yeah, it's a tuk-tuk.
Yes.
It's a Suzuki flatbed.
Oh!
Yeah, it's got a
That's
flatbed.
not a tuk-tuk.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, you're talking about the three-wheel ones?
Yeah, that's what I
A
was thinking.
tuk-tuk is a three-wheel.
Three-wheel
These
one,
things
yeah.
are cool.
Okay, can someone explain what those are? Because I have explaining that.
Well, they're a little truck. They're the tiny little two-seaters. I think Honda, Toyota, Suzuki, Mitsubishi, all of those different companies made them.
Yep.
And
They're just like the bed is like 4 foot by 2 foot. And
yeah,
you
they're
got-
they're narrow.
Yeah.
Well, they're built for industrial applications, so people would use them to move parts from warehouse to warehouse in their facilities.
Yeah.
It's a facilities truck. It's not really designed for road.
Grant and I are not sitting next to each other on one of those.
Oh, come on. I'll be in the bed.
It's like
It'd be pretty tight.
it's like a gas-powered golf cart.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's nuts though, because I bring up this website, and you can buy these vehicles for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000.
Are they over here or are they in Japan?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just minitrucks.net.
Yeah, probably in Japan. So
I know they're here. You can get them here, but most of
Ships
the
from
ones I've
Japan.
seen here.
Ships from Japan. This one's not in Japan.
$7,000.
This one's in the U.S. for $4,500. The rest they ship from Japan. Here's one that's
so
U.S. for-
so stop
Okay.
right there, because that's not a project truck. So just put it away.
Okay, I won't put a 454 in the back of one of those.
I
but-
have seen them with K-swap.
But mini truck wise, I think a Brat would be fun. I think
Yeah.
that'd be one of the best. Or like I said, if we're going true mini truck, one of those Suzuki or something like that.
Suzuki Samurai.
I like those.
Hey,
things.
okay,
right.
hang on.
I like
That was my first thought, but I was like, that's not a truck.
It's a
It's Truck-esque.
It's truck.
But I'm like, that's a
Jeep-esque.
borderline of a car and truck. You might as well
Most-
call a Geo Tracker a truck.
Most.
Well, yeah, yeah.
I'm going to throw something at you. No, the Suzuki Samurai, I watched a lot of dudes build those things into 4x monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy of mine in high school and after had one of those that we drove around in a lot, and it's scary. Those things are a tip over hazard.
They're fun. We talked
Yeah,
about.
they're fun, but it's still scary.
Remember we talked about our cars we drove episode, where like
Yeah.
list all of them, and like one of my top ones was a Suzuki Sidekick.
Samurai? Oh, sidekick.
Yeah, remember?
Those are a little bigger, though.
Oh,
Yeah, but you're rowing through the gears. It's going nowhere. It's making all sorts of sounds.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Going nowhere fast.
We got my buddy's truck, Samurai, stuck deep in the mud.
If we're on the truck episode, I want to talk about a subject we haven't talked about much.
Okay.
Chad, you might know about this one. I'm not sure. In terms of trucks, one thing people do with them is military trucks and restore those, whether it's old Vietnam or World War II trucks, or we get the modern day Hummer and trying to get those back because you can buy them for surplus for cheap. Now, have you guys seen anyone work on any of those kind of projects at all?
I know a lot of people that have put those things together and used them for logging trucks.
Yeah.
Not like they're hauling logs in them, but like they're using them as skidders or they're driving them up to, mow trees down or whatever. But yeah, you can get them. I don't know about now, but back in the 90s when these guys were buying them, they were like $1,000, $800, and they were picking up a rig that they could go and drive today across the country.
Wow.
Yeah, well, that's our government for you. They sell off surplus super cheap, and you got to give it to them though. They always maintain their stuff,
Oh yeah,
so you could pick it up pretty cheap.
yeah.
You get much of that, Chad?
Oh, we see. I mean, we see the H1s and stuff coming, but it's hard to. We were a tough state for a lot of years of trying to register and title a military vehicle
Oh yeah,
because we were just not friendly to that.
gotcha.
Yeah, that's one thing.
for-
I remember there was a big articles about the a surplus of H1s being sold off. I think it was 2019 or 18, and every news outlet that was in the automotive industry saying, "Hey, you can get a H1 for $3,000, $5,000." They're like, the catch is you can't register on the road because most of those vehicles that they were doing weren't road legal. They were missing doors. They didn't have lights on that, But I think if you're building a truck for an off-road thing, I mean, get an H1 Hummer where you can have tires that self-inflate up and down and having,
Now wait, what are you doing with it?
off-roading.
What
I'm
kind
saying.
of off-roading?
I don't know, whatever.
Like rock crawling?
Like mudding?
Mud maybe. Rock crawling?
No, you're
They
putting...
sucked.
Oh, yeah, you got a 4-ton vehicle try to go up...
It's not even that.
Yeah.
The H1 had all, what do they call them? Independent suspension, all four corners.
Yep.
So, that being said, when they were trying to crawl over things,
Okay.
they didn't flex as well as you think they would.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So, you had to find the right path, as it were.
Okay.
Yes, they had big tires. They were 37-inch tires, factory.
Yeah.
That's what they put on them.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So they were big, but they weren't flexible.
Yeah, I thought that was the whole thing about that vehicle. Is it was supposed to be able to climb over anything.
They had tons of ground clearance.
Yeah.
And they could get through some stuff. But if you
Just wasn't
If
nimble.
you put one of the front tires up on a rock and you were trying to crawl over it, there was a good chance that the other side
Kinda do the
tire was going to
teeter-totter
be off the ground.
situation. Gotcha.
Yeah, they just didn't flex very well.
So I'm wondering if there's, because one of the things to bring up back to military vehicles was like the Willys Jeep, especially during World War II. They were very quick to assemble. A squad of men were supposed to be able to build a Willys Jeep, quote unquote, I think in 20 minutes.
Less than that.
Was it 15?
It was pretty fast.
It was something
yeah.
like that. I'm wondering if there's a company out there that actually sells kits of that.
There was.
Is
Yeah.
there? Because that
The
would
surplus stuff. I remember seeing that
Yeah.
online or something that you could actually buy a surplus Willys still in the crate.
that would be like, I wonder, a good project for like a
be neat.
beginner or like a father-son project.
Dude, I'll tell you what I would
Pretty
do with
neat.
one if I had it.
Yeah,
If I had a shop big enough
yeah.
and I had one of those, I would very carefully disassemble the crate. I would put all of those pieces on the wall
Just hang it up.
and hang the crate from the ceiling.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Just display it.
Yeah.
But if those exist, I think that'd be a good project.
I think we should get one and see how many hours it takes us to put it together.
I know they boasted like you can put it together in 10 minutes, right? Because they dropped them out of aircraft on parachutes and they were supposed to be able to land their parachute next to the crate, open it up and assemble it and drive away in 10 minutes. That was their whole selling point for this thing, and apparently it worked.
I'm not gonna lie. If we can find one for cheap in box, I'm talking like 10 grand, under 10 grand. I'd be willing to go in that, take a week off work, and the four of us put together and see if we can make it.
See if we can
Just
build it
make
in
a
10
video
minutes.
of it.
I'd toss 2,500 into that.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
amazing.
Research on that.
Chad, you in?
I'll drop 2,500 and
I'm
a
in.
quarter and a quarter of Chad's ticket to get out here.
I'm done for
Yeah.
that.
There we go.
That'd be the coolest video.
So I got a big truck project.
Okay.
Which would you guys pick out of these? Because these are three that I like, but I couldn't pull the trigger on any of them.
So Ford,
a lot of
Ford, and
guys are-
Ford.
Nope.
Yeah,
Let him go.
it rhymes with GM. So
It rhymes with GM. Okay.
Cadillac.
so would you take an old ramp truck and make it a project truck?
Okay.
Would
Ramp?
you take an old tow truck and slam it, kind of like the one that was at Seam outside?
Okay.
Or would you take like an old C60 dump truck,
Ooh.
get rid of that, make it a flatbed, and slam it to the ground?
So I like this question, and
Interesting.
I have always been super partial to the ramp trucks, and I actually saw one for sale not too long ago that came with a race car on the back of it.
Nice.
Vintage. The whole thing was vintage, but it needed restored. I think that's the way I would go. I just think those are so freaking cool.
Okay, explain to me what a ramp truck is.
So it's basically a kind of a tow truck, but it's a truck with car ramps on the back of it. So you just drive or pull a vehicle up onto it with a winch or whatever.
So the bed doesn't drop
Nope.
down or anything. It just you
Just
ramp
it's-
drive it right up.
Drive it up. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's at a slant. The ramps are always at a slant.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
could use it for that.
Goes over the top of the cab.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could use it for that. Or you can get a 1968 Dodge Charger and just go for it and jump it.
Get out of here.
Yeah. So, I mean, that would be the one I would lean towards because I just think those are really cool. And, you slam it to the ground and you just pimp it all out, and then you get the race car or whatever your project car to match, basically, and you pull it up on the bed of it.
Okay. And then the tow truck you're talking about, it's got the boom arm off the back with the hook on it and all that?
conventional.
It
old
looks like
conventional
Mater.
wrecker.
It looks like Mater.
Yep.
Okay.
Is that what you pick, Jeremy?
And then a dump truck, and you pull that off and
Yeah, I
toss
mean,
it away,
it
put a flatbed on.
Yeah, it could just be even an old full size flatbed dually that you just basically change suspension, drop it to the ground.
Yeah.
I gotta know, is a dump truck the only option? Can you do a crane instead?
That
It's
would
the
be
same
what I
thing.
do.
Because if you're doing, if you can get it, I would vote for crane. If a crane can, if you're talking like, I would do that.
Just because you have a crane truck.
Yeah, I think it'd be
That's
cool
right.
as hell.
I like the Kenworth that you guys got back there.
I know.
But honestly, I kind of like the look of the tow truck. And if you bagged it and dropped it on the ground,
Oh, that'd be kind of neat.
oh man,
Yep.
Yeah, if we're
Just-
going for just appearance-wise, I think a traditional old-school tow truck is the way to go. I think...
See, we have one like 2 hours from me, and it's been for sale for a long. And it's runs and drives.
Oh,
It's all there. It's more money than I would want to spend.
Okay.
I'm like, man, that would be awesome. But then I'm like, then what do you do with it after you have it? That's
Right.
Yeah.
Slam
I'm
it,
like
sell it
this big
again.
yeah.
Yeah.
You hook a
I'm like
C10
this-
to the back of it and you tow it to the car show.
Yeah. Essentially, it's like when you have one of those kind of trucks, is you have to have like something to tow with to a car show. I think that's what makes this
Yeah.
deal. Like an example for us, we've got we've talked about multiple times on the show. I've got a 1953 C600 Ford crane at our shop, cab over truck.
Sense.
Anyways, our plan is once that's fully restored, either we're putting a classic boring machine and pipe onto it, or we're pulling behind it or put on the bed, a Cobra. Having something to go along with that, I think brings aesthetic and appeal of that.
I think so too, yeah.
Yeah, with the flatbed, I would agree with.
Yeah.
So with the flatbed, would you put a tow truck style flatbed on it so you could drop it right down onto the ground to pull something on?
Most people just leave them just flat,
Just
or
flat.
they'll go through and they'll convert and make an actual fleet side bed with
Yeah.
that, or they'll put a step side. They'll use a fleet side and then graft in step side fenders to.
That would look pretty cool too. Is this a 1-ton truck?
Oh no, it's a dump truck.
Oh,
It'd be
It's probably
it'd be like
10
a
ton.
it'd be like a C60, yeah, C50,
Okay.
C60, single axle, but dually.
big. Yeah. That'd
Yeah.
be pretty sick
only
though, with
thing-
the pickup truck bed on it, basically.
The only thing
Yeah.
I see with the dump truck being the big hurdle is tires.
Yeah,
That's what it'll.
But they do make lower profile semi truck tires.
No, I get it, but
Yeah.
if is that the route you want to go with? Like, I mean, ultimately, like that's that. I think that's for me. That's what stuck out because when you say that, I'm thinking, okay, whatever it's going to have is get big knobby tires. But if you want to go low profile, I mean,
Yeah, you can get a low profile street tire and some Alcoas.
Yeah.
Polished Alcoas, man, that would fucking look dope.
Yeah, it would.
yeah.
yeah.
Agreed. What are you leaning towards, Chad?
Man, I like the look of the wrecker, but I think the ramp truck would be,
More utilitarian.
yeah, and I could use
Yeah. Yeah, you could.
instead of having to drag a trailer everywhere,
Yeah.
you just pull up and drag your next project up on there with the winch, and
Oof, I
away
love
you go.
that. Love that.
What motor does it have?
And most of them back then would have been 350s, and then
454
starting in '68, you could have got a 396.
Oh,
Then.
there you go, yeah. I think I'd pull that out and put a Cummins in.
That would be cool.
Man,
Yeah.
that's one of my custom guys that runs a custom shop. He's got a 70 C10 lowered. It's beautiful, and I went over there the other day and I popped the hood, and it's got a 89 12 valve Cummins in it.
Nice.
That is awesome.
And it is just the biggest tire fryer in the world. I was like, that thing's awesome.
That
He's
is
like,
cool.
yeah. He's like, I'm running a starter wire and a tack wire. That's it.
That's it. Oh my gosh. That is so cool.
Starter and tack.
Brad would love that.
Not even a friggin' alternator wire?
Nope.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Wow.
I was like, okay, that's what I want to do with my 4-wheel drive, and then I priced it. 89 to 94 12 valve Cummins. I'm like, maybe not.
Well,
Just got to
depends
find
on
the
where you
right
get
deal.
it. Yeah, you got to find the right deal. I
Yeah.
bet you can get one if you're really looking.
You know where you can find one cheap? I'll tell you right now. 'cause
Get one under $3,000.
I just thought of this right now where you can get a cheap one. Look up any 90s construction equipment, especially cranes.
Yeah.
They have, like, for
true.
example, like if you can get an RT all-terrain crane, Terex, for example, you may pay at an auction a used one that's really worn out. The crane part, maybe they're going to ask for $3,000 to $5,000 because they don't want to pay for the seals or hydraulics on it, but it has a 12 valve in it.
Yeah.
You know,
What the fuck am I going to do with the rest of it?
you go and send it to the scrapyard,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess you could
And you make
that.
money that
Recycle
way.
it.
but you
That's
pull
what I
out.
was trying to figure out. What year was the all mechanical 12 valve? Was it late 80s to mid 90s, or I don't even remember. Loud.
I think it was. I know it was definitely early '90s.
Like 89 to like 96, probably 97.
Yeah, because that's the one you could pull the fuel pump gear out, put the different fuel pump gear in, and basically bump it like 200 foot-pounds of torque and a couple hundred horsepower.
I know we've mentioned this on a previous episode. I think it was Brad's episode. I'm just going to say this again. So, Chad, do you know how indestructible those 12 valves are? And listeners, do you know either?
Oh, God.
I'm about to tell you.
I want one.
Yeah,
We had one in our crane that ended up with one of our guys with it being tagged out saying do not run because there was no oil in it. Came by the next morning, it had moved its location. Called him up and I said, why is this crane moving? He goes, oh, I just used it for the last half hour. That crane ran for half an hour at full throttle with no oil in it, and that was over 10 years ago. The same engine we're still using and have no problems with it. Wow. Those things are bulletproof. That includes, we just found out the radiator's been pretty much gone, so it's had like no coolant in there either. So those things just go forever.
I love it.
Yeah.
I know.
I fully support this project, Chad. I think you need to move forward.
I know.
Yep.
I mean,
more than the Willys project.
Yep.
I'm not a purist. You know, I change everything anyway. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you
go
can
for the ramp
if
truck.
you can LS swap it, then just go for it.
So if you're not
ramp truck.
you're not a purist, I need to know this, Chad, because our listeners have been giving me so much grief about the last project I did.
Ugh.
Okay. What's your thoughts on taking a 2015 Camaro and swapping out the perfectly good LS motor with an even better / worse, it could be depending on the opinion, 4.6 Ford motor in there?
He's speechless.
He had a heart attack and fucking died is what happened. His jaw hit the floor. He gave up.
Okay.
I don't even get points for creativity. Okay, I see how it is.
Yep.
I mean, yeah,
It's one way to go.
It's one way to go.
Oh, man. Check out episode 46 from the Untitled Car Project for if you'd like to be up to date on that whole build shenanigans.
I don't know. We've heard about it probably every episode since. So.
Well, I mean, there was probably at least one person that loved it.
Oh, Chad, I get emails every day from listeners telling me how I messed up putting a Ford motor in a Chevy.
I'm sure you do.
Yep.
I would have loved to bought the Chevy engine from you.
Right?
That sounds great.
Yeah.
You do that.
I got a C10 this can go in.
All right, let's jump back to the projects for a minute here.
Okay.
If you're looking for a project, say a 67 to 72 C10, what kind of condition of project should you be looking for? What do you think?
I mean, number one, I always look for titles and clean paperwork if I can get it, or at least I can get a title for. That's number one.
Yeah.
And then two is just cab rust. I mean, stuff that's really hard to correct. If it's other than that, you can find any other sheet metal you need for these things anywhere, but paperwork and a cab, that's really the only.
How extensive does the rust need to be on a cab for it to be, for you to say, I'm walking away from it?
Yeah, any of it with decent holes above the windshield and then down the A-pillar. If it's got that, then...
Are we talking like holes, even if it's like the size of a dime, or are we talking like holes that...
Pinholes.
I would say if it's like missing... 4 and 5 inches at a time up there. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you need a whole upper skin in there, which is no biggie. I mean, Forrest has a couple holes up there, but I got a buddy that's like, oh, come over and hack the roof liner a few inches out of my truck cab and graft it in. I'm like, yeah, no problem.
Oh, okay. So a little bit of it you can repair, but if it's really bad, 4 or 5 inches worth, it's stay away.
Yeah, usually because I don't want to, because I do patina.
Yeah,
and it's hard
sure.
How often do you find that? Like out of one out of every 5, one out of every 4? Like, how often do you find where a truck's that bad you have to walk away with?
Probably 1 out of 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Out here, because that scene sealer lasted 20 years,
So let me
and then
flip that
Then-
question a little bit on you. If you were going to paint it rather than patina it, would you buy it with a little bit more rust?
probably just that is not a fun thing to do. Is that front windshield eyebrow, and then especially doing the A pillars? It's just not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, you're a little more seasoned, we'll say, on these trucks and that kind of stuff, and the way you want to do it with the patina and that kind of stuff, it makes a big difference. But say you got a guy that, he's only going to do the one truck, and so he's maybe willing to take on a little bit more of that work. Would you still recommend he find one better, or be like, you know what, it's in your price range, it's got the paperwork,
Yeah.
you can fix it?
I'd have them just go for it, because
Yeah.
we have the luxury in the Midwest of they're everywhere.
Yeah.
But you get back into Pennsylvania and Maine and all that, and they're like, no, this is it.
This is a good
the
one.
only,
Yeah.
This is the only C10 I've seen for 3 months. So
Oh, yeah. Okay.
We have
they
them
just
out
don't
here,
have
but
the
they're fucking expensive.
yeah.
Yeah.
What about frame damage? Is it common enough where, say, if you've got one that's the frame's pretty rusted, gone, it's better to just still buy the truck because the body's good and you can swap a frame on it, or what?
Yeah. I mean, that's so many people now are, using Roadster shop frames and Finch Performance. So there's just a lot of chassis around now, because people are buying $20,000-$30,000 performance chassis.
So you can pick up their old one?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that's not I mean, it's a short bed frame used to be worth a lot of money. It still is if you can find one. But
Is that something, if you were in the market, say if you're on a budget and you bought one and realized the frame's gone, finding one of those used frames, is that something like you go on Facebook Marketplace and they pop up every so often? Is it something you go on the forums? Is it you need to make a connection to know someone who knows someone who might have one? What would you recommend to our listener?
I mean, yeah, Marketplace is easy. I mean, I could buy 3 short bed frames in Wichita right now. I mean, there's 3 I know of listed for my
So how much would it
trucks,
cost me to ship one of those out here?
Yeah, right.
Asking for a friend.
Probably about $1,000.
Probably. Actually, not that bad.
Yeah, but if you're doing that, you might as well stick 5 on top of each other, strap down, and come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, without the suspension, you can fit a short bed chassis in the back of a crew cab.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll go find a 6-foot bed. It'll make it.
Just strap it in
I
there.
heard.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah. So that brings up another good question. How far away from home should you look for your project truck? Your base vehicle. I know
think
that's a
that'll-
personal. Yeah, it's a personal preference, but
Also depends on where the truck is.
Yeah, I think that all depends too on what paperwork, what titling is in those other states.
Okay.
That's one of the big ones. Like, Georgia, they're a bill of sale state.
Oh,
So
they are? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they don't need titles on their old stuff.
wow.
But there's a channel I watch. It's called United by Trucks, but Robbie's selling his 70, I think it's a 75, 76 square body, and he's basically giving it away on a raffle and buying merch and stuff. But he's like, hey, by the way, it's a bill of sale only. I don't have a title for it. So if that's going to be a problem in your state, beware.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of research for out of state stuff. Is that going to be a problem when I get it back to Kansas?
Yeah.
So
Because Kansas is a little more stringent on that, right?
yeah.
A little harder to file for a lost title.
we're very good if it's a Kansas vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
So we can buy on bill of sales as long as it's 35 years old here, and you can get a title off a bill of sale. But if it's a Oklahoma vehicle, you have to get a notarized title from Oklahoma and then bring it into Kansas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah. Every state is just a little bit different of how much fuss they're going to put up trying to get a title for something lost or anyway. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
but I thought of you guys because I saw a 71 or 2 K10 4-wheel drive, and it was I think it was in Washington or Oregon. I can't remember this morning for $2,000. I was like, oh my gosh, what a good deal. Why don't you guys just go get that? And then,
Well, let us know because every so often we're could meet you halfway, either in Vegas or something like that.
We can do
Vegas
that.
isn't halfway.
It's not.
It's not.
No.
No.
But yeah, if you
Closer.
if you find something you want us to go look at, just let us know.
Yeah.
We can do that.
oh, well, no. But I'm just, those are things like that. Now, would I go
Yeah.
to Washington for a vehicle? Probably not.
I mean, shipping is not that much if the deal is right.
Yeah.
But would you drive to
Absolutely.
Colorado for it?
But yeah, I'd make a run to Arkansas, Colorado, Nebraska,
Yeah.
Texas, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Would you
If I can
recommend?
make it in a day, I would do it.
Right.
So here's a question to ask you, Chad. Would you recommend? Because I know it's been done on other channels like Roadkill and Motor Trend and whatnot. If someone's going to buy a project that is supposedly running, but it's out of state, they have to go there to pick it up. They're planning on driving it back. Is that ever a smart idea? Because
What year is it?
well, I'm saying because most trucks, I feel like you can still get parts over the counter, even for older ones. So and may not get interior parts but stuff to get it running, brakes, driving, clutches, whatever. So if you found say in Washington an unbelievable 70 Chevy that you couldn't pass up, some old ladies give away for $200. Is that worth the risk driving it back, or is that something to be like, you know what, we need to kind of rethink this?
You're going to end up shipping it.
I'm saying if shipping is not an option,
Yeah,
let's just say that's not on the table.
I wouldn't do it.
No,
No.
Chad, what do you think?
That's a long way.
Let's say you had time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I had a month to plan this out. And
Yeah.
what would happen if it breaks down, and who would I? But if it's like, oh man, I got a week, I got to get out there, and then where's the nearest Harbor Freight so I can buy tools and all that, and then. Yeah, I don't trust anybody. That's my problem.
I'm just dumb enough. I would do it.
I'm kind of with Rob. I would do it too, I
It
think.
depends on how far you're going. If you're driving across the country, if he's picking it up here and driving it back to Kansas, that's sketchy.
Yep.
But if you're
Sounds like a good road trip.
if you're picking it up in Northern California somewhere and driving it back to here, fuck, I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We won't even take a trailer.
It sounds like a good adventure. I might give it a shot.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen? Yeah, you got
Oh, he said.
listen to me. Let me finish my thought. The thing breaks down and you can't repair it wherever it breaks down, right? You rent a U-Haul truck and a dolly and you tow it home.
Or tow it to the next place where you can fix it.
Sure. Or that.
Yeah.
That's part of the adventure, right? You got to be ready for it. But I kind of like that kind of stuff.
Well, here's the thing. If you're doing a truck, I don't think, the U-Haul dollies can take so much weight, right?
You can get a flatbed.
You can get a flatbed too. They have two axle flatbeds.
The trailer, you mean, right?
Yeah.
Those can only take so much weight on them. I know
Enough.
that.
Enough to carry a truck.
You can put a pickup on it.
Yeah, for
we
sure.
could probably
3/4 ton?
put one of our F250s on them. Yeah,
Okay.
You can
But-
I
find
guess
something.
but
it's no different than running the power tour. Even if you built a car, you're running the risk of not making it.
Yeah, for sure.
And the only reason I would hesitate, there are certain areas that you drive through
Yes.
from here to Kansas
Yep.
that you're going to go 100 miles
Easily 100.
and not see even a gas station.
Yep. Yeah,
So-
you got to, by the time you hit those spots, you better have your shit worked
Yeah.
out.
I mean, if you get to one of those spots and your truck dies
Yep.
and it's 50 miles in either direction to get to something,
Yep.
And then
You may die too.
Well,
Yeah,
it may be
that's right.
It may be 250 or 500 miles before you find a U-Haul.
Oh yeah. There's definitely challenges.
You know what? I know how something like this could be a possibility. Let's say that original Bronco in Alaska becomes available and they sold to Jeremy for $500, and it needed to be down here in Oregon. Is that something you would just fly and drive back and figure it out, or how would you do that?
Well, the one that I originally thought, no, because it's actually a Blazer
Okay.
and there's no rear axle.
Okay.
So when you got there, it's like, okay, that's not what I
That's
thought that
not
was.
what I was looking at.
Yeah.
All right.
There is a
I think
Bronco
a thing like
somewhere.
that, I would plan it differently if I really wanted the vehicle and I knew that it was suspect. Like I'm not thinking it's probably not going to make it, right? That's when I would probably go find a rental and put it on a trailer and tow it home, or arrange for shipping at that point.
Yeah.
You know, and just have
and then
somebody
jump
bring
on a
it.
plane.
But if it's something like on the Alaska wise, that's going to cost, I know what, $5,000+ to ship?
Nah,
$1,200.
I thought you said it was going to be more than that. You said anything going in and out.
Yeah, it's like
12 to
3,000 if you go on the ferry.
Okay, let's just say something ridiculous. You find it in New York and we're in Oregon.
still
In fact-
$1,800.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Well, no.
We
It's,
shipped
it's really not that much.
we shipped a car from Texas
Dang.
back to here. It was $1,200.
Okay.
Dang, that's
Yeah, you can ship one to
Very
Yeah,
Hawaii.
you're in my boat right now, right? Where you're like, this is unbelievable on shipping prices.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can ship a car to Hawaii for $1,800.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The-
that's
the-
over the water.
Barges are
Still-
super cheap.
Well, you put it in a container, and you're splitting cost of a container with.
You guys are telling us all this cost being cheap, and now Chad's getting the idea of now getting
Yeah.
in New York.
I know.
Come on up, Chad. I got extra rooms in the house.
There you
Come on up.
Well, by the way, I need you guys to, when you're done here at midnight to
Yeah.
go look at this 4-wheel drive.
It's not sketchy at all. He'll meet you in an alley. Yeah, it's fine.
I got a pistol. I'll be fine.
All right. So, next question then, along the project car line.
Truck.
What
Project Truck.
project truck? Did say that. What should we expect to pay for your, let's see, 67 to 72 that runs, got a little rust, your basic patinaed truck. Doesn't run good.
Like 7 out of the 8 cylinders firing good, or
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
it starts. It
Oh,
ran when parked.
When it
In-
ran
in-
when parked,
in
that
my-
means there was brakes. There are none now.
I think a running driving project around here, $3,000 to $5,000.
Okay.
Okay.
I like
'Cause
that.
there's a
That's
bunch
funny
of
because
them.
I don't think you'd get one up here that cheap.
No,
Yeah.
no, you can get one without a motor and transmission for that much.
Yeah. I wanted to say it's like 8 around here.
No, probably. No, well,
I'm talking
a
rough
runner?
shape.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Rough shape runner?
probably 7 to 8.
Yeah, that's what I said. 8.
A
Yeah.
decent runner?
No, I'm not talking decent.
Probably 12 to 15 here.
So,
Yeah.
Chad, you start shipping us trucks up here like crazy.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Let's work
I
this
mean,
out.
I mean, I guess that's why I'm selective. I mean, a lot of these rollers that I buy are $500 to $700.
Wow.
So that's why I part a lot of vehicles out, because they're not. I mean, let's say I can make $200-300 on it, or I can make 2,000 by parting it out. So
Yeah, I mean, economically. And you don't need all those trucks sitting around, so parts are...
no, I know. I'm just murdering these trucks, so you guys can't have any out there. So.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's right.
I still think you should build one with a new kid trying to come up.
Random question. Chad, how often do you see 6-axle conversions out there? Do you see them at all? Or, sorry, 3-axle conversions, where they're like pickups with 2 on the back.
Very, very rare.
Okay.
Very rare.
Okay.
Do you
Jeremy's looking at me like,
not-
I can't believe he asked that question.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that was going.
I
I
was
don't
trying
know. I
to
thought it'd be
figure
more
where you're
common
going.
out there.
Why?
Why?
I don't know, because more pickups out there.
Oh, just for like utility,
Yeah.
the heavy dutiness of it. Yeah.
Because I've seen like one out here, very rare, but like
There's a couple of them out here.
yeah, but
There's a Jeep that has a 3-axle over in Oregon City.
We saw that, remember, at the beaches? Yeah.
That was a different one.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
All right. Well, Chad, you going to C10 Nationals? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking the better half this year.
Yeah.
I think she's going to absolutely love it or hate it. I'm not sure.
We'll
She
check
doesn't-
in on that. Yeah. May 9th and 10th, you're headed out to Texas.
May 9th and 10th.
You making the road trip or you flying?
We're going to drive down there. So we got some, I'd like to swing by like Gas Monkey and Collins Brothers. We usually go when I would go with my cousin. We'd hit Summit every time, but we've done that.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. So
Hell, I'll only be 2 states over from you.
Well, you might as well drive down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Wife and I are going down to Phoenix for a week.
Nice.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, we'll want to talk to you about C10 Nationals and how it goes. And I was gonna try to make that one, but that weekend is our first Corvette Viper event, so I'll be busy.
Oh, yeah. No, that's all right.
Yep.
Should be fun. I mean, either she'll go with me again or she won't. So we'll find out.
Yep. No, that's awesome. Well,
I figure I'll throw her in the autocross trucks and I'll throw her in the NASCAR. And
so
Nice.
fun.
everything she should like.
Are you
but she
taking a
might not.
C10?
No, we didn't. We were gonna try to take my cousins down again,
Mm-hmm.
but we've decided to make it shorter than it is now. So
Mm.
another project.
Mm.
Well, that's how project goes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Saw the squirrel and decided to chase it.
Hey, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Right on.
Happens.
Right on. Well, Chad, thanks for letting us interrupt you, at 10 o'clock at night and talk your
it's
ear
all
off
good.
for a while.
Yeah.
Love it.
Appreciate it.
I'm always happy to be on with you guys, man. It's a good time.
Awesome. Yeah, appreciate your time.
It's always good hearing from you, Chad.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, you guys too, man.
Can't
Have a
wait
good
to see you
night.
again, buddy.
Anytime, man.
All right.
98 degrees tomorrow. Come down and see me.
You're going to have a good time. Yep. All of 60 degrees here. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Yep.
See you, boys.
Right on. Talk to you later.
Have a good night.
Bye. All right. Don't forget, listeners, to go check out his YouTube channel.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Go to C10 Truck Nerd on YouTube.
See if you can get him to 22,000 for us.
Yeah. Hit follow, like, subscribe, all that. Actually, you could do that for us, too, on Untitled Car Project. Even though this is the Untitled Truck Project show, we probably didn't cover all the material that we could have, but it was great to have Chad on.
Yeah.
I like where we went. It's good to talk about all the C10 truck stuff. That is a really big aspect of project trucks anymore. Grant, I do really like your thought on 90s is a great place to start for trucks right now.
Yeah.
And
100%.
I would love, if I didn't have a garage full of cars already, I would love to get one of those and do something cool with it. But
Same. I would want to get another Explorer and start building the.
of course you would. Of course you would.
I'm serious.
How about a Ford,
That's exactly what I would build.
a 90 white Ford Bronco?
I love
I
it.
thought about that.
I love it.
No, if I
love
got
that so much.
if it was a '90s Bronco, it would be a teal one
He
because
didn't
that's
get
the
it.
first
Didn't
like
get it. Oh, now he gets
slow runaway chase,
it.
right?
Yes. It was a slow burn.
Okay.
I do love those Broncos, and I do know where there are a couple, and a K5 Blazer.
But like I was saying, I do want to get one
like
of those
K5s.
Broncos eventually. That was the first truck that I remember as a kid. Like
Yeah.
my earliest memory is my dad had a green blue one,
Uh-huh.
and I just love that truck.
Yeah, I love those Broncos.
Yeah.
They're so cool. And it's kind of why I like my new Bronco so much. I think it looks cool. It drives nice.
I like your new Bronco.
I think they're really cool. Anyway, that is the show for today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Reach out to us at untitledcarproject@gmail.com.
Yes.
You can also hit us up on Messenger through Facebook on the Untitled Car Project page and join the group if you like.
Yep.
Hit follow on the podcast. Please share it with a friend. I hope you liked our content today. Hit up Chad on the C10 Truck Nerd YouTube.
As well as if you've got, if you or know anyone who'd like to be on our show,
Yep, reach out.
let us know.
We're open to it. We haven't had a guest in a few weeks. We've been slacking a little bit, but we'll figure it out. We'll reach out to some people and see if anybody else wants to come on.
Yes.
Super happy that Chad picked up tonight and was willing to chat with us. So thanks again, Chad.
He's not a guest anymore, by the way. He's
I know
family.
he's
family.
friend of the show for sure. So looking forward to hanging out with Chad again this year at SEMA. We've talked about that a little
Need
bit.
to fly him back into Oregon.
Fly him back in?
Or fly him to Oregon.
We'll work on that.
Okay.
I agree. When he has time,
He should come out.
we should bring him up.
Yeah. Yep.
So anyway, thanks everybody, and until next week, we'll talk to you later.
Bye.